Sony's recent announcement is the worst thing that's ever happened to the gaming industry. So you might be commenting saying that seems extreme, like there's definitely worse things, but I truly do not think in the 50, 60 years since gaming was invented that we have seen something worse for the industry. And I think it's because the lack of physical games, like let's say physical games are just going to die like within this generation. A lot of the other issues people may say are the biggest all kind of play into this. So first, before I get into the obvious issues with that, let's look at some of the other things that people may say are some of the worst things to ever happen in the gaming industry. So if we want to start with the gaming crash in the early 80s, I think that was actually a good thing. Because yes, in the short term, it was bad for the industry, but then that led to Nintendo innovating gaming, making higher quality games, like games just became better. So I think in the long run, that was a good thing. Then you might point to things like DRM, prices going up, microtransactions, unfinished games. So let's talk about all of that. I just want to say if you like this style of commentary videos, if you're a supporter of physical games, be sure to subscribe because I'll have more videos like this soon. So DRM is bad, where you need to actually have an internet connection, even if you own the game. But I mean, you have to have an internet connection now to get any game since the games are going to be all digital, so we can kind of tie that into it. Microtransactions are bad, but for the most part, games like full AAA games do not require microtransactions. Like most single player games do not even come close to requiring microtransactions. Sure, it's bad and it can be predatory, but I just don't even think that's close to the worst thing. So yes, the prices of games and game consoles is going up, but it's not like games were ever just cheap in the past. Even like with inflation, games were more in the past. Now, that's not black and white because people have less disposable income, so that's a whole other argument. But then we could talk about how prices are going to go up even more with the digital-only future. So I think the thing a lot of people who are digital-only gamers don't realize is that physical games can keep prices down more. Because let's say for the PS5, you have Sony's digital storefront, which they pretty much have complete control over. So then you have physical games, whether it's the retailers or the secondhand market, and most of the time, physical games are actually going to be cheaper over time. Like look at a game on PS5, like a AAA game, look at the price on the PlayStation Store now, and then find a copy of it on eBay, or even you could try GameStop if you really want, and chances are it's going to be cheaper, if not significantly cheaper. Sometimes games will just go down in price or there'll be more sales because they want people to buy digitally, and they need to compete with the cheaper physical games. So now if the games are only digital, that's a monopoly. And I think there's actually an investigation going on. I doubt anything notable happens from that. But it's a monopoly because if you buy a PlayStation 6, the only way you can get games is through Sony's digital store. And yeah, I know there's going to be like the download codes you could buy from retailers, but still, that goes through the PlayStation Store. So they can control the prices all they want. There's not going to be a secondhand market unless people are selling the game cases with an unused digital code. I don't even know how you could trust that. Like, yeah, sometimes buying on eBay is a risk because you don't know if the disc or cartridge is going to work, but you'll at least have the disc or cartridge. With the digital code, like, there's not really going to be a resale market for that. So Sony will be free to just charge $80 digitally, and there's nothing else you can do. If you want that game, you better pay Sony because there's no other way to get it. And I'm just talking about exclusives because if a game is multi-platform, yes, you can get it on other platforms, like you can get it on Xbox or Switch or PC. So there is that to, I guess, maybe lower the price a little bit, give some more sales. But if you have a PlayStation 6, which a lot of people are going to buy, like a lot of people aren't just going to buy a PC or switch to Switch 2. Like if they already have that PS6, then the only option they have is that digital storefront. So prices will be higher. Like for me, I very, very rarely buy digital games that have physical copies. The only times I will is if the game is just like super cheap, where if I like the game, I'll get a physical copy later on. Or if it's just hard to find a physical copy, which nowadays, it's not really hard to find a physical copy online of a game. It's sometimes just expensive. Anyway, the next point I want to get to of why this is the worst thing that's ever happened to the gaming industry is it takes away any ownership you could potentially have of games. And it takes away any way to play a lot of these games in the future when these storefronts shut down. So there's been quite a few times where a digital storefront has shut down. The 3DS, the Wii U. Now the PS3 and PS Vita shops are shutting down, I believe, next year. So any digital-only game there, it's just going to be unplayable through official means. However, a lot of these games have physical copies. So if you want to play them, you can just buy a physical copy. But of course, for a digital-only game, that can't happen. Like, look at the 3DS. Like, it has an incredible library. And let's say it didn't have any physical games. The only way you'd be able to play these games would be unofficially, which if you know, you know. And a lot of people like to play their games officially. A lot of people are just casual gamers who don't know how to mod a 3DS. And that really sucks that there's no official ways to buy these games anymore. So while in the past it hasn't been the biggest issue because for the most part there's not that many games that have been lost that are like notable games, but someday the PS6 shop is going to shut down. Like the PS3 shop is shutting down after 21 years. So it's still so that's a long time, but someday the PS6 shop is going to shut down, and since there'll be no physical versions of those games, they're just going to be lost like that. So of course with game preservation, that's another thing. And then other things, of course, like not being able to actually own that physical game, to put the game in the console, not be able to lend that game to a friend. And personally, I think this just gets rid of any reason to get a PlayStation 6 for me, because it's not like a couple generations ago where PlayStation had great exclusives. All the consoles had great exclusives, like even Xbox did. Like there was a reason to get an Xbox 360 and a PS3 because they had games you could only play on those systems. Now exclusives barely exist. Like Xbox Series X, I don't think has a single true exclusive. I think every single game is at least on PC. And PS5 has like 2 exclusives, like Astrobot, maybe like a couple others. Like you can buy most of the games on PC. So for myself and a lot of other people, we still play on console because we want physical games, which isn't really on PC much anymore. So if that's not a thing anymore, what benefit is there to having a PS6? It's probably going to be over $1,000, so why not just buy a PC, which granted might be a little more expensive, but I'll get way cheaper prices on Steam since that's not a monopoly. There's other storefronts on PC. So way cheaper prices on games, better performance. I don't have to pay for online. I can use any controller I want. I can mod games. So I don't see a reason to get an expensive console, because it's not like the PS6 is going to be a $500 console. It's more than likely going to be over $1,000. So I really don't feel like there's any reason to get a console that's not a Nintendo console, because they're still making exclusives. For now, they still have physical games. And of course, you can bring that anywhere. I know there's PC versions, but those are a lot more expensive. But anyway, all of these things have been true for PC. Like, it's been an objectively better experience to play on PC, like, for all the reasons I listed. But again, on console, you had cheaper prices. Like, the PS5, remember, when it launched, was $500, plus you get physical games. Those are really the two things going for consoles, at least for PlayStation, even though there's not many exclusives. Like, there were still reasons to get a console, but that's gone now. And if you're someone who already played on PC, this probably isn't a big deal to you. But I've always just felt like it's a lot more special to get a game as a physical game instead of spending $70, $80 on just a digital license to play a game. Like, I like to have something tangible. Like, I want to be able to put my games on my shelf. I want to be able to have that game no matter what. Whether it gets delisted, whether they want to remove it from people's digital libraries, like, I want to be able to own that game. So I just truly don't know if there's been something worse that's happened in the gaming industry. And I hope there's a gaming industry crash. Like, I hope that the PlayStation 6 just does horribly. And I think there's going to be a bigger impact than Sony realizes on this. So I'm not saying no one's going to buy the PS6, because a lot of casual gamers, a lot of people already just buy digital games. Like, they're going to buy the PS6 no matter what. But especially with it probably being over $1,000 and alienating a lot of the people who would have bought it for physical games, I don't think it's crazy to say that sales will be impacted by this. And I don't think it's crazy to say that games are not going to sell as well if there's only digital versions. A lot of people are not willing to buy digital games. And even if it's only 15%, that's still a significant amount in the grand scheme of things. Like for me, there's a lot of games I just would not have gotten digitally. So you're seeing Rhythm Heaven gameplay right now, and I know my gameplay is not very good. I haven't played these games before. But this is a game I would have never gotten on launch day if it was a digital game. If it was on sale for like $15, maybe. But I just wouldn't have spent $40 on this game if I didn't have a tangible product with it. So that's an example of me buying a game because they made a physical version of it. So I hope Nintendo continues with this. Nintendo could be the saving grace of the industry if they just continue to make physical games. And there's a chance I would continue playing Switch 2 versions of games even if they're not as good, just so I can actually own the game. And by own the game, I mean, especially with game key cards, that's a whole other thing where kind of own the game, kind of don't. But with game key cards, at least it's a physical product. Like, you can still sell it, you can still lend it to a friend. Yes, it's not perfect. I think it's deserving of a lot of criticism because you still have to download it. You still need an internet connection. But comparatively to PlayStation, it's not even close to being as bad. So recapping. So what do you think has been worse for the gaming industry? Because a lot of the things you might point to are things that are going to happen even more now because of this. And if you just say, no, this is not the worst thing that happened to the gaming industry, okay, what is it? Because a lot of people like to leave very vague comments. Like, they like to criticize a video or disagree with it, but they don't actually like to give context. So if you have context, if you can tell me something that's been worse for the gaming industry and you do it in a respectful way, like, I'll listen to what you say and maybe you'll even convince me, because maybe there's something I'm completely forgetting. But I just think all of this combined is just horrible for the industry, and hopefully a gaming crash is coming soon that forces these companies to change. I don't know, let me know your thoughts and be sure to subscribe.